Hey, what's going on, Shrimp Keepers? It is Sunday. It's not Saturday. I apologize. We had a crazy work week. We have the import order coming in soon. It's actually like less than 2 weeks away, so a lot of work to be done on that. Stay tuned for future videos. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to me or anything like that, we're getting a huge import order in of like 10,000 shrimp. And so check out recent uploads, and hopefully by the time that you watch this, you're going to be able to see this huge import order that's coming in. So that's a lot of fun. The other thing, real quick, I'm doing a live stream tonight. We're giving away 10 Shrimp King tanks, and this was from the competition we had this whole week. And I actually do have something for everyone that comes to the show. So if you guys are available tonight, stop in and watch that. That's at 6:30 Eastern time. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. But today we are talking about myth-keeping shrimps, or the myths of shrimp keeping. I think I said that right. But yeah, so today I want to talk to you about a couple very controversial subjects. And the first one is, do assassin snails eat shrimp? The next couple aren't as controversial, but do shrimp need constant water changes? Do shrimp live 2 years? What's their lifespan? Does cutting anubias kill shrimp? That's a question we get so often. And the last one, which is also extremely controversial, is, do shrimp eat/kill their babies? So they're young, little shrimplets. So let's start it off with talking about, do assassin snails eat shrimp? And I do want to say this going into it. I have over 100 tanks. I've kept tons of assassin snails. And so I feel like what I'm telling you guys in the video is fact. Or it's so close to fact that it's like 99.95% sure, because I've witnessed this and I've experienced it firsthand. And so, do assassin snails eat shrimp? And the short answer is yes. Yeah, so it's yes. Assassin snails do eat shrimp. And let me tell you the story on how I know this. So again, we have about 100 shrimp tanks going right now, and we've had assassin snails, I would say, in about 30 of them. And we've only had one tank where the assassin snails, we call it going rogue, and they just start killing things. And so this is how we know. So we had a black tiger tank, and everything was going great. All of a sudden, I started finding the weirdest dead shrimp bodies ever, like completely hollow inside, like just real weird. And we saw one, and then we saw two, and then it started, every week we'd find at least one. And so I didn't know what it was. I thought it was maybe a parasite. And at that point I was like, no, there's no way assassin snails eat shrimp, like no way. And so what I did is I was like, okay, well, maybe the assassin snails are eating shrimp. And so I took every single assassin snail out, and then at least I thought I did. And later that week, I actually saw one eating a shrimp. But the shrimp was dead, so, but it was well along in the process. So it could have been eating a dead shrimp. But here's the thing. I went through and I caught all the assassin snails out, and that one included. And that colony actually became one of our best shrimp breeding colonies as far as black tigers go. And so for us, we took all the assassin snails out, and all of a sudden, it turned out to be one of our best tanks. Excuse me. And so that's how I really do believe assassin snails will eat shrimp. I think it's extremely rare, and I think it's like a great white eating a person. Great whites don't mean to eat people. They don't really like the taste of us. But if one starts eating people, it's going to continue to eat people. At least that's what I think. And so it's like assassin snails. They're not going to really eat shrimp, but if they get a taste for shrimp and they like the shrimp, they're going to continue to chase after the shrimp and try to eat them. And so I believe that assassin snails do eat shrimp, although I do believe it's extremely rare. Do shrimp need constant water changes? And so this is one that a lot of people get wrong, at least beginners in the hobby. They think shrimp constantly need water changes, whether it's 10% a week or 20% a week or even 5% a week. All those numbers can be too high. Shrimp need 10% over the course of a month. And that depends on if you're feeding properly. If you're feeding a ton of food, then you're going to have to do more water changes. But for the average hobbyist, 10% a month is a good number to go off of. Yeah, a lot of people get wrapped up in doing crazy amount of water changes. Literally, we just trickle the water in, like just a really, really slow drip, and that's what we do. And then it actually overflows out the back corner. And so when you're doing that, you're actually not even taking water out. You're just dripping water in, and water's overflowing out. So it's even less of a water change than if you drain water and then add water back in. And again, we do it so slow that the shrimp never really experience a change in water parameters. And so smaller water changes are better. So do shrimp need constant water changes? Absolutely not. 10% a month is more than sufficient for a shrimp tank. And the next one is, do shrimp live 2 years? Or what is the lifespan of a shrimp? This is one that a lot of people get wrong. Shrimp, they can really live for a long time. We have a colony of fancy black tigers. They're just these crystals that got mixed with tigers somehow, and they actually look really cool. And I've actually had this colony since the very beginning, like since before I started the business. So it's over 3 years old, and I still have the original shrimp that I started the colony with. Like the big mamas, they're still in there, and they're huge. And they're well over 3 years old. So shrimp could really live a lot longer than 2 years. But here's what happens is, excuse me, I don't know what's going on. So what usually happens is people keep their water temperature way too high. And so these shrimp's digestive system is just going super, super fast. And it's like burning them out. Like they're just going, they're not used to that hot of water. They're used to the temperature changes through the year and the stream staying nice and cool. And so if you keep shrimp at like 70 to 72 degrees, I call that the ideal temperature. And I don't know what that is in Celsius, but that's Fahrenheit. And what I would recommend is keeping them at 72 to 74 degrees, and that's how you're going to get the longest life out of them. So, and here's what people also don't know is shrimp, they're best at reproducing the older they get because they become really good moms. So like a mom shrimp is bigger, she can hold more eggs, and she's more experienced at holding the eggs. So an adult mom can have like 70 babies, whereas a newborn mom can have like 20, and she could possibly drop some, and she doesn't know how to fan them properly. And so you actually get your best production out of shrimp when they're older, in my experience. And so do shrimp live 2 years? It might be the average, but it's definitely not the limit of how long they can live. So shrimp can live, I've had shrimp live up to 4 years. I wouldn't say I've ever had them live past 4 years. And then also I've had shrimp die like a year in, and that means that like something was off. Their genetics aren't very good, different things like that. So you need to stay out, or you need to be proactive and watch these things and pay attention to how long your shrimp are living, and it can really tell you a lot about your tank. Next one is, does cutting a nubius kill shrimp? And this one's really funny because I keep a nubius in almost, I wouldn't say all my tanks, but I would say I have at least 15 tanks with a nubius, which is a lot. And I constantly propagate it, like by breaking the rhizome when we sell it or something like that, or someone comes to the shop and wants some. And so cutting a nubius is absolutely false. Like it will not harm your shrimp whatsoever. I've cut it, thousands of times, maybe not thousands, but at least hundreds of times. And I've never, ever had an issue. So I don't even know where that myth came from. That's just a crazy one. I think somebody was just like screwing around. They're like, hey, let me say that cutting a nubius kills shrimp. But no, I've never ever had an issue. So cutting a nubius will not kill shrimp. So feel free to cut your nubius, propagate it, spread it throughout your tank, and you're good to go. Shrimp eat/kill their young. Now this is controversial because I have believed in the whole time that I've been keeping shrimp up until like 2 months ago that shrimp will never hurt the babies. They will not. I mean, it's just not in their nature. And and I actually experienced it firsthand. Me and Amanda, my wife, were at the shrimp warehouse, and we were watching the shrimp tank. We were feeding everything. And when you feed the tank, this is what happens. So, first of all, know this. Tiger shrimp are extremely aggressive eaters. Extremely aggressive. When you feed the tank, you drop the food in, and everyone starts looking for the food. The big ones will actually come together and think that they found the food, and they'll start fighting. And so here's what happens. So we're feeding the shrimp tanks the other day. We drop the food in. Two big moms come up. They think they found the food. They start picking. And a little baby shrimp comes in there and thinks that they're on the food and goes to go get some food, and they're fighting. And this baby shrimp flies right next to him, and they pick it up and just tore it apart. Like, just ripped its legs off. And then instantly, Amanda goes, ah! And she grabs the net and, like, hits him away. And this poor shrimp had, like, all of its antennas and legs ripped apart. It's, like, barely moving. And so we ended up just putting it in there, and they finished it off. But, yeah, it's brutal. So, will shrimp eat/kill their young? Yes, they will. It's extremely rare. And it's only if, I would say it's only if two shrimp are fighting and during feeding time. If baby shrimp get too close in while two big ones are trying to fight for the food, they will tear that little one apart. So, it's very interesting. Once you look at it this way, it starts making sense. Like, oh, I could see that happening. But before I looked at it in the way that I'm telling you right now, I was like, well, there's no way. Like, shrimp don't kill their babies. Like, it's just you don't have that. And so luckily we experienced it firsthand, and so I can share that information with you guys. But it's very crazy to see. So let me recap. Assassin snails eat their shrimp. Or assassin snails eat their shrimp. Assassin snails eat shrimp. Yes. Although I think it's extremely unlikely and only happens in rare events. But once it does start happening, it's going to keep happening. Shrimp need constant water changes? No. 10% a month is more than sufficient. Shrimp live 2 years. I would say 2 years is an average. Shrimp could live up to 4 years, and they could die as early as 0. So I would say that's a good average. Cutting anubias will kill shrimp. Nope. Cutting anubias does not harm shrimp in any way, shape, or form. It only propagates the anubias to make more plants. Shrimp eat/kill their baby shrimp. Yes, although again, unlikely. It only happens during feeding time. And yeah, basically during feeding and maybe breeding if they're being very aggressive. And so start paying attention to your shrimp at feeding time and give me your guys' feedback if you ever see this happening. I would love to get it on camera just to prove the point. So if you guys could start recording your feeding times and do a time lapse and then send the video to me. If you do find it, I would really appreciate it because I think that's something really good to get out there and that people will know. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys like this series, The Myths of Shrimp Keeping, and I'll continue to find some myths and break them. Sorry guys, my camera actually cut out, but hopefully you enjoyed this series. Really appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, commenting, liking. It all helps, trust me. And just much love from this side of the camera. Hopefully you guys are going to make it a great week. Hopefully I'll see you tonight in the live stream at 6:30 Eastern Time. And I will talk with you guys soon. Later.